Let me tell you about the morning I stopped existing. I didn't die, I didn't vanish, I didn't even do anything wrong. But when I woke up, I was already gone. It started with something small, as it always does. I tried to unlock my apartment and the door flashed red. Access denied. I assumed it was a glitch. I mean, technology messes up all the time, right? So I scanned my wristband again. Nothing. No beep. No rejection. Just no response at all. That was the first sign something deeper was wrong. Not that I had been denied access, but that the system wasn't even acknowledging me as someone who could be denied. Like I no longer had a profile to deny in the first place. I reached for my phone to call the building's support line. The screen didn't unlock. My biometric scan failed. Not once, not twice, but every time. I tried my backup code. It didn't exist, literally. The error message said, "Profile not found." That's when the pit opened up in my stomach. I tried logging into my cloud account on someone else's phone. I couldn't. My name was gone. My credentials, deleted. Not access revoked, not temporary hold, just blank. I wasn't locked out of my digital life. I was locked out of me. I went down to the neighborhood transit hub, one of those clean, glassy kiosks that look like they belong in some future utopia. You know the kind. I stepped onto the platform, and the gate didn't open. A quiet buzz from the system, and then a message in calm, sterile font. "Invalid user ID, please present a recognized entity." I laughed nervously, looking around. Surely this was just a bug, a glitch, some server hiccup or patch update. But the kiosk didn't laugh back. I waved my wristband again. The screen didn't even flicker. The system didn't see me, not even as an error. I wasn't rejected. I simply wasn't there. When the guard walked over, I expected sympathy. Instead, he looked at me like I was a stranger in a building where I didn't belong. "Sir," he said flatly, "who exactly are you trying to impersonate?" I told him. My name, my ID number, my address, even my last facial scan verification. He scanned me, looked at the screen, then looked back at me with that same dead stare. "You're not in the system." Then he said it, the sentence I will never forget. "You are no longer a valid identity." You'd be surprised how fast everything unravels after that. The problem with our world isn't just that it's digitized, it's that everything is connected to that digitization. Your access to buildings, your job, your health records, your reputation score, your money, your memories. Your very existence depends on being seen by the system. And when it stops seeing you, you stop existing. I went to the city's identity bureau, the massive government building with steel walls and soft holograms trying to make it feel human. There were people everywhere, scanning, verifying, being helped. I walked in hoping someone would take one look at me and say, "Oh, this is obviously a mistake. Let's fix that." But no. The moment I gave my name, the receptionist stared at me blankly. "Name?" I repeated it. "Associated ID?" I gave it. She typed something, frowned, tilted her head and said, "There's no record of you." I asked her to check again. She looked at me like I was wasting her time. "If your profile was deleted during the recent BioSync rollout, you'll need to reapply for provisional identification status." She handed me a printed brochure, not even a digital one. They didn't want to send anything to my non-existent inbox. The pamphlet read, "So you've been unlinked, reclaiming your place in the digital citizen grid." It had steps, cold, sterile steps. Step 1. Submit a petition for self-reinstatement. Step 2. Provide legacy evidence of identity. Step 3. Attend 3 cognitive verification interviews. Step 4. Undergo behavioral consistency evaluation. Step 5. Wait for system decision. No appeals. I asked how long it takes. She shrugged. Anywhere from 3 weeks to never. Then, just before turning back to her screen, she added, "Until then, try not to draw attention." Try not to draw attention. That's the world we live in. If the system drops you, you're expected to just disappear quietly. I tried contacting friends. No one responded. At first I thought they were busy, but I found out later, my messages weren't even reaching them. My number had been flagged as spam. My profile was labeled anomalous. Even the emails I sent were routed to junk folders with a red warning, potential identity fraud. I was being treated like a virus. And the cruelest part? No one did this to me. There was no villain, no hacker, no targeted attack. This wasn't revenge. It wasn't sabotage. It was automation, a system update, a line of code, a decision made by a machine thousands of miles away based on data I'll never see, in a language I'll never understand. Some server somewhere scanned my profile and found a mismatch, a pattern it didn't like, a contradiction it couldn't resolve. Maybe I changed too many addresses. Maybe my mood pattern shifted. Maybe I stopped posting enough to prove I was real. And so, like a file that didn't sync properly, I was flagged, unverified, deprioritized, disconnected, deleted. That night I wandered the city. I couldn't rent a scooter, couldn't enter a cafe, couldn't access a public restroom. Everything needed an identity token, a valid digital soul. I passed by an old woman humming to herself on a park bench. She looked at me, smiled faintly and said, "Lost, aren't you?" I nodded. She said, "Me too." She pulled back her sleeve and showed me her wrist. No band, no chip, no light. "They forgot me in 2037, she said. "I've been invisible ever since." That's when I realized I wasn't alone. I was part of something bigger, a new underclass, the invalids, people who fell through the cracks of a world that only sees what it can categorize, people who dared to exist beyond the lines of code. Some of us forgot to update, others refused to conform. A few just didn't meet the algorithm's standards. And all of us erased. So now I live in a shadow. I trade with people who still remember me, under the table, off-grid. I sleep in places where cameras don't track. I exist only in analog now. But even that's getting harder. Facial scans are mandatory for most buildings. Identity pings are required for social gatherings. Even love requires a verified profile now. Dating without it is considered emotional impersonation. And every week the system gets smarter, the cameras get sharper, the gaps get smaller. I've seen people lose their identities for smiling too long at nothing, for crying in silence, for failing to produce an emotional baseline that matched their history. The system doesn't just want your name, it wants your patterns, your predictability, your compliance, and if you can't offer that, you become a ghost. Final words? Never assume the system is on your side. Never assume your existence is secure. Because you are not your memories. You are not your body. You are only valid for as long as the network says so. If this story made you think twice about your own digital footprint, subscribe to 205X Stories right now. Hit like if you believe identity should never be algorithmic. Comment below. If the system erased you tomorrow, who would remember you? And don't forget to share this with someone who thinks they'll never be forgotten, because even immortality requires an update these days.